to everybody that's joined us in Malaysia for this official live stream from the Sepang International Circuit, and good afternoon and good evening to everyone joining us from around the world, because it is, of course, a live stream that's on the internet. My name is Jeevan Salvanathan. Sitting with me in the commentary box is Ross Yusof for day 2 of round 3 of the Pirelli Malaysia Superbike Championship 2017, which means 6 championships will be coming your way over the course of this morning and this afternoon. All of them will be raced on the wonderful track that you see in front of you, the one-of-a-kind, unique Sepang International Circuit here in Malaysia. Yes, I know what you're thinking. The weather doesn't look too good. And Ross, it hasn't been too good, has it?
It hasn't. It rained for the first time in about 5 days.
Yes, last night.
Last night, early this morning. So what we can tell you is the first race up, the boys, the KTM RC 390s, they're going to be on wet tyres.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see as to whether some of the other championships, the Open Production 250, the Super Sport, the Super Sport class, the Asia Talent Cup, the Super Stock class, and of course the Super Bikes will also have to race on wet tyres. That does really depend on whether that rain keeps falling. Now, of course, we were here in this commentary box all day yesterday, so literally the rain turned up while all of us were deeply asleep last night. And when we were actually making our way up to the circuit this morning, it was sputtery. It was, you know, sometimes torrential, and then it would stop, and then the sun would come out, just as you see now. So this is going to prove a bit of a problem for these teams, for sure, today in these 6 championships. But we have set up, based on race 1s yesterday, 6 fantastic races for you today here at Sepang.
We're starting with the KTM RCs, which we ended with last night.
That's right.
The last race at about 6:20 yesterday evening, 6:30. So that should be fresh in our minds. And just to recap what happened in yesterday's race, Billy Van Aert from Australia.
Billy Van Aert.
Yeah, he won it from Izam Iqmal.
That's right. And these are basically in terms of the championship, and this KTM RC is played out over the 5 rounds of the Superbike Championships, and the next 2 rounds after this will be in September and November. But entering this round, it was Mohammed Ibrahim Noureddin that was up front in the championship with 91 points, and Mohammed Izam Iqbal in second with 76 points. Now, Izam was the one that scored some points yesterday, and that would be 20 points. So currently, but if I believe right, Noureddin finished as well in 4th.
Yep.
So they are still up there at the top of the championship. Great run for Billy Van Aert for this championship, which sees, I think it's 23 bikes, 23 competitors, all on similar KTM RC 390 bikes. Now, we didn't really get into some of those bikes and the specifications. Well, it's a relatively new bike. It was essentially released by KTM the end of 2015, and all of the reviews that have come out of it have been fantastic. This is, of course, of the road bike itself. 375 cc's, about 7,000, about up to about 9,000, 10,000 RPM, about 100 miles an hour is what you can get up to. But the point is, they're very good-looking bikes. They handle amazingly well, really versatile, and they're a great starter bike for these young riders, because it is up to about 20 years old.
And they are ridden at full throttle.
Absolute full throttle. And being the same bike, of course, it means that of this and the Talent Cup, I think, were the 2 tournaments or the 2 championships yesterday that just saw a huge pack of races. I think there was 1 second separating the top 9 riders yesterday evening, and Billy Van Aert, to his credit, still managed to craft out a 2.846 lead over his rivals in that. And it'll be interesting to see if he can do that again.
Race 2 action at the Sepang International Circuit. Then it's the KTM RC 390s. Jeevan Salvanathan and myself, Ross Yusof, in the studio for you. Of course, this is the Pirelli Malaysia Superbike Championship 2017. Now, it's been wet this morning. The rain has stopped. The sun is coming out, but conditions on track, well, they're still a little bit wet, aren't they, G?
Yeah, it is still a bit wet, and this is as you can see there, much darker track. As we look at the first row, Ibrahim Noruddin has qualified first for the second race. Furuchi Ukyo and Ahmad Idham Khairuddin, who of course had to, he was a DNF at the last lap yesterday. And he's going to be looking for some points.
Yep, on the second row, we've got Ralph Kenneth Torres, Izam Izamli, and Jazil Juraimi.
Third row, Ahmad Daniel Heikel had a fantastic ride in race 1. Billy Van Aert, there he is in 8th, and Zhu Shenchun Ji from China in 9th.
Arshad Shaharum, Juran Asakura, and Ayman Shaharum in row 4.
Fifth row, Mohammed Rehan, also a good ride from him yesterday. Amirul Afik and Eric Chia in 15th.
Bike 16, Chen Peng Yuan. 17 is Zachary Johnson. 18 is Shamsul Razlan Shah. That's row 6.
And row 7, Pongpak Dijan, Markin Wai, Sharim Azrul Roslan, 19th, 20th, and 21st. And that should be it, I think, or maybe one more row.
Yes, one more row. Muhammad Firdaus Aziz, Charmaian Lim Kee Gern, and Andrew Barraclough. That's 8th row.
Andrew Barraclough, one of the DNFs. In fact, on the 9th row after that, Mohammed Efzan, Azlan, Kishore Dhanabalasingham, and Eddie Erman, 25th, 26th, and 27th. Those 27 riders make up our grid, and that grid is just about ready to get underway for a morning and an afternoon of great racing at the Sepang International Circuit. For all the results from race 1s for any of these championships, get on to www.sepangcircuit.com.
Yeah, full day of racing ahead of you, and if you're into racing, you want to have a look at it, you know what? Get yourself
up here.
Yeah, because it is free entry.
It's right.
To the grandstands all day.
Grandstands all day, so you can come and support some of these hometown heroes on home soil. Now these KTM riders with the safety car behind them are going to get into their warm-up lap now. Sometimes they call the formation lap. Of course, before this, sighting laps as well. And there you can see really clearly the patches of water that are
still on the track.
Yeah, they are. Sepang is a circuit. Its drainage has been improved over the last year or two with some quite substantial works on pretty much every corner just to make sure the drainage is better. But you really can't do much about these torrential rainstorms that come down. And it was definitely, as you can see there from the shine coming off the track, a significant enough amount of water that these guys are all going to be on wet tires for sure this morning.
Well, if no more rain falls on the track, we expect by the time the Superbikes and the Super Stocks come on, they probably dry out.
But that's it. If that big if no more rain falls, well, we're going to have to really watch the skies this morning. And I am quite glad that it did rain, because we were talking about how the weather can shift so quickly up at Sepang yesterday, and all the viewers on the live stream never got to see that. It was unrelenting sun the whole day, absolutely beautiful racing conditions for 6 championships. So Sepang has definitely added its extra word today.
Now, one man who will definitely be looking for a great race is yesterday's winner, of course, Billy Van Aert. Came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
Unfancied, if you like, to pick up 25 points.
I think the man who wants this race even more is going to be third on the grid, number 16. You just see him there, Ahmad Idham Khairuddin. Was having a fantastic race, needed the points as well, but just for some unseen, unknown reason, had to retire on the last lap, and it really was, it looked actually like he'd spun out, but he's definitely going to be looking for
It was
some
on
points.
the last lap yesterday. It was most unfortunate. Izamli managed to get second, and Daniel Heikel got third.
And of those 3, it was really just Iqbal who basically benefited from the points in terms of the championship standing. But it's not all done yet. As you know, each of these racing rounds has 2 races in it, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Each of those races can deliver you, as we've seen in some of the other classes, 25 points every time. So with 2 rounds left after this, plus this race, that's 5 races, That's 5 times 25. You can do the math. Plenty of points still to race for and ride for. And it might not be over yet, but definitely over the course of the first 3 months, we've seen certain names such as Mohamed Ibrahim Noureddin and Khairuddin and Iqmal actually come to the top of the heap. Because even on bikes, which are exactly the same, it's never about speed. Speed doesn't win you races. Skill wins you races.
Absolutely, absolutely, and no more so.
That's my first big line of the day, Ross. That's my first big line of the day.
No more so than in a race like this when the playing field is completely level. So
100%.
that's the man with the red flag. We're so familiar seeing him now.
That's right. He's got a friend. And that friend is the man with the green flag who'll be standing behind the grid.
And when they're gone, the red lights will illuminate, and when they go off, we're off on the first race of day 2.
Day 2, this is where you can make up for any indiscretions you may have had on the first race on day 1, and of course rescue your weekend, because after this it's going to be about 2 months for you to think about the results that you put down on the track. So this really is the last chance saloon for round 3, and the red lights are on. Our first race of the day is off. The KTM RC Cup, as close as it gets, and once again, Ross, we see them all weaving and bobbing down the home straight.
As is the way with these smaller bikes, for them to find the right line, and as they approach corner 1.
Well, look at that, they're all just basically coasting into turn 1. Much slower start, as you'd expect with the...
Of course, we saw in the Superbikes yesterday how dangerous turn 1 can be.
Dangerous is right. Everybody's fighting for that racing line. Now, with these smaller, more lightweight bikes, with which are based a little bit more on handling, especially based on their fairings and the trellis structure that they are, you can actually see them clinging to the lines a lot more clearly than the super bikes who kind of roll into the lines. These bikes can kind of pick their spots really, but it's a little bit more treacherous out there for them today. You'd be surprised.
I can tell you that quickest through segment 1 is the Chinese rider, Zhu Sheng-Junyi.
37.956, 4 sectors that make up the bike track. Full circuit being used for round 3. 5.543 kilometers.
Ibrahim Noureddin is up there with a very fast sector 2, 41.35. As they approach the 3rd sector now. Remember, these bikes are going around this Sepang course 8 laps they do around this course. This was the last race last night, and it's the race we are starting with today. Of course, this is round 3.
And once again, you can just see how close all these bikes are. And that's how it's going to stay for the 8 laps of this race. It's a slight lead that's turned up now, though.
Yeah.
All coming around for the first lap, so we'll be able to give you the lap differences as soon as they do.
See a gap between the first 4 maybe starting to open up now. As they approach the line, and Zhu Sheng-Junyi looks like that's a very good first lap from him. As they come round to where we sat, and the noise gets louder.
That's right. Well, Zhu Sheng-Junyi has made the most of having that fastest lap, 2:51.420, and that means that he's up front. Well done from him, because he was actually way down the grid.
Ibrahim Noureddin currently second, just under a second, 0.03 seconds behind. Daniel Heiko finds himself in 3rd position. Iqmal Izamli is in 4th, and Ahmad Idam Khairuddin 5th, with Ralph Kenneth Torres currently the 6th rider.
now picking up a bit more speed as everybody finds their rhythm and footing, the track. Now, the one thing I have to say is that, of course, if the sun does stay out, it doesn't take very long with these new drainage procedures or protocols that have been put down at Sepang for this track to dry out. And you're going to see these bikes get faster and faster.
I think we've seen Ibrahim Noruddin take the lead there. I saw Idham Khairuddin moving up the field as well. So let's just take a look. Of course, with it being wetter, or slightly wetter than it was yesterday on track, you have to think a little bit more about braking distances.
Well, this is it.
Into corners.
The lines that you were used to, and of course with these bikes, this is a not unfamiliar situation to see a pack of 6 bikes together. Once again, there's just 2 seconds separating the first 5 bikes.
It looks like Ralph Kenneth Torres is the man up front at the moment. It's a stirring ride. I see Idham Khairuddin in third as they come round to complete their lap. On the final corner here, approaching the back straight.
2 packs of racing riders now. Well, that's a rider down.
313.
That's Pongpak Dijan, the Thai rider.
So currently leading Ibrahim Noruddin, bike number 6 from bike number 99, Daniel Heikel. Iqbal Izamli's up to 3rd place. As we see,
that is
Pongpak's
bike being taken off. So we have our first, well, there's actually another rider that's been unaccounted for. Well, sorry, he has just been accounted for. Amirul Afik was missing from our timing computers for a second. Pongpak will be missing from now on. Can't see him coming back. So, great ride. And in summation so far, about 2-3 laps in, Ibrahim Noruddin is up front. Daniel Heikel in 2nd. And Iqbal Izamli in 3rd. So, 1st and 3rd are the championship contenders. And it's 3rd place Izam Iqbal that's actually come up with the fastest lap now. 2:45.977. That's the time to beat. Very much the case that if you put down that lap on equal bikes, then you are going to start rising through the ranks.
And Ibrahim Noruddin up front has now opened up a 0.6 second gap between himself and Daniel Heikel in 2nd, bike 99.
It is actually pretty impressive the way that they can craft out these leads, but it's really down to having a clear track in front of you. Absolutely nothing to worry about. As you saw there how close things were getting. Yeah, that was a little bit of a touch, and that was Izam that came out the worst for it.
Yeah, Daniel Heikel taking full advantage to move up into 2nd.
So Daniel Heikel with another great ride. This is the thing about these race 2s.
3rd last night.
That's right, 3rd last night. Now running in 2nd here. Bit of an underdog. Now, if you wanted to know where Billy Van Aert is, he's currently in 6th, but is still, well, actually 6 seconds off the pace. Now, we're seeing massively different time differences between these bikes today, and I think that's down to the moisture on the track. Some of these kids are not, these younger riders, I should say, are not dealing with that moisture too well. The rest of them having no problems at all with the extra grip that these wet tyres giving them.
That's very wide corner there.
That pack of 3 of Ahmad Daniel Heikel, Izam Iqbal and Zhu Shenjunji, all vying for the 2nd spot.
Yeah, Zhu Shenjunji is back up to second now. Daniel Heikel and Iqbal Izamli dropped down. Billy Van Eerd has moved up to fifth.
Well, that's worrying because you all know how fast Billy Van Eerd can go.
Early leader Ralph Torres dropped down to sixth. That is how fast things can change in this KTM.
Well, I just think it's great to see these bikes. You know, they're not very heavy either. They're very lightweight machines. And they're very good for doing exactly this, which is kind of scrapping together. And it's just good to see such close racing. I mean, there's always a pack or two packs. Right now, there's 1.3 seconds between the three riders of second, third, and fourth. There's 1 second between sixth and 10th. And then there's 1 second between 10th and 14th. And it really is.
And the gap is getting, the gap is getting slightly bigger. Mohamed Noureddin up front has opened up a 1.33 second gap over second place, Zhusheng Junji.
These bikes weigh just 147 kilos, which really isn't that much at all. They're extremely light and pretty powerful as a result. Topping about 100 miles an hour down the straights. Good starter bikes, of course, the KTM RC Cup means that each of these 27 riders gets the entire technical package together as we see Jassil Juraimi coming into the pits.
That's unfortunate.
Well, Jassil Juraimi should be also taking part in... Well, that's another victim of the weather. Andrew Barraclough has had another mare, really.
Yeah, he didn't do too well last
night either.
Jassil Juraimi at the moment.
I think Jassil Juraimi will be, if I'm right, taking part in the Super Sport class as well. But he's in 8th at the moment. And that was him coming into the pit. So
now we're looking at the leading pack here. Mohamed Noureddin is the bike in front. See the gap between him and Zhusheng Junji is not that big. It's 1.335. We'll confirm that as they go across the finish line here.
It's too close to call, as usual. There's the front pack. Noureddin, Iqbal, and Shen Junji, with just 2 seconds separating them. And then after that, Ahmad Daniel Heikel, Jassil Juraimi, Billy Van Eerd, and Ralph Kenneth Torres. That takes us up to 7th. Ferrucci Ukyo, Mohamed Rehan, and Ahmad Nabil Sharoum take us up to 10th. Eric Chia just served the ride-through penalty. And those are our standings. 4 laps to go.
It is the halfway stage. And at the moment, Ibrahim Mohamed Noureddin riding a very good, safe race from the start.
There are stories around the Sepang International Circuit as to which riders in which classes. And there's a huge slip. There's a slide off, and that looks like Billy Van Eerd, who's just gone a little bit too fast this time. Thankfully, he's up and he's sprightly running towards his bike, and the leathers have done exactly what they're supposed to do.
Last night's winner, of course, Billy Van Eerd. Safe to say, he won't be making the podium today.
Look at the drift on that from Izam Iqbal.
Now, if you watch last night's race, you can see the difference immediately.
Yeah.
And that's because we just had a bit of rain this morning.
It's a tiny bit of rain, but that's all it takes. Quick look behind. So we've had Andrew Barraclough out, Amarul Afik out, Hong Park Dijan out. Billy Van Eerd looks like he may have got back on his bike because he's still being timed, so. But that could have very easily been an out, and obviously these are on these big corners in Sector 2 and Sector 3 where that moisture is going to really play a major part, because those corners are taken at speed. Now this, up at the front, well, that is Iqbal under some serious pressure from Zhu Shenjunji. Serious pressure as well, wheel to wheel as he comes out, pulls out the slipstream. Well, as we've just seen it, that's actually Iqbal that has overtaken Noureddin. So that 1.8 second gap that he had just taken straight away. Noureddin has, through turn 1, managed to keep that lead again. But what a move from Iqbal.
And that was an almighty wobble there from our race leader, but
now
he's recovered.
What's really important is that these two riders that you're watching are the championship leaders as well. Noureddin did pick up some points yesterday, as did Iqbal. It was only Khairuddin that didn't. But it looks now, yep, that Noureddin is back up in front.
There's a 1.7 second gap between the first two and the third place rider, Daniel Heikel. Zhu Shenjunji's dropped down to 4th, 3.5 seconds nearly behind the leader.
Well, that's a great move from Iqbal. Braked really late there.
Just a look behind.
Well, he needs to have it, because any of these, this is another late braking corner. He takes it nice and easy just to keep position. Great from Noureddin to defend the line.
With Iqbal breathing down his neck, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. There is 0.002. And right now they're absolutely side by side. And it looks like Iqbal's gone through.
Yes, he has.
Huge battle at the front.
Iqbal is Amli.
3 laps to go. Huge battle at the front.
Now we see the response. Oh,
wow. How about that? Things are getting a little bit frayed out there. That was Noureddin.
Was that a fist of anger race?
It didn't look too happy. Didn't look too happy with the line that Iqbal has been taking, possibly on that corner or the corner before. And they are definitely not happy with each other.
Neck and neck at the moment. Noureddin just in front.
That is an amazing move by Ahmad Daniel Heikel, by the looks of it, who's now joined this fray. It is indeed.
Yeah.
And while Noureddin and Iqbal, were raising fists at each other, Ahmad Daniel Heikel just managed to pull up that space, and now it's a 3-way battle for first and not a 2-way battle.
So with 2 laps to go, it's certainly a feisty start here.
There is 0.08 seconds between those 3 riders on your screen at the moment. And based on the wet conditions and the fact that you can make up at least half a second just based on a slip or a slide or a wobble from any of your competitors.
So Iqbal is back up to 2nd. Daniel Heikel drops down to 3rd.
I think Daniel Heikel might just be keeping that position to see what happens with the 2 in front of him. The sun is out and the track is drying up now. Noureddin has a little look behind.
Another look behind. And he is going to know that that gap,
well, the gap's got bigger.
Yeah, has opened up slightly more. It was 0.019 before between.
Should be about 1.2 now, I think. And certainly enough daylight that Iqbal, look at the way he's drifting through there. It's not going to be enough for Iqbal to have a pop at him, but it's definitely going to be enough for Daniel Heikel to have a pop at Iqbal. Well, we said it was going to be close right at the beginning of this race, and it's actually Norodin that's put in the fastest sector time of 39.928. He still has, well, the fastest lap so far is 2:44.565 by Daniel Heikel.
So just 2 laps to go.
Billy Van Aert looks like he has been affected by that slide that he had.
He's in the pits.
He's in the pits. And it looks like that might be it for him because he's just dropping down the order.
Meanwhile, it's a 3-way battle up the top. Mohamed Norodin leading from Ikmal Izamli. Daniel Heikel hanging in there, bike 99 in 3rd.
Well, what's great is here that the championship is going to just benefit even more from the fact that Ikmal and Norodin are looking pretty sure to score high points now. 25 points for a win, 20 points for second, 16 for third, 13 for fourth, and then it moves down by 1 point all the way down to 15th place, where you can score 1 point. Now, fastest lap has been set, 2:43.853 by Zhu Shengjunji in fourth.
Incredibly fast.
That's really, really fast. That might have something to do with the track drying up.
Chinese rider currently in 4th.
Well, the last time that he posted up the fastest lap, he was moving through the gears and found himself right at the top. So he was only 2 seconds behind.
But they are running out of lap.
They are running. This is the last lap now.
This is the final lap now they're on.
Now I wonder if Ikmal Izamli or Daniel Heikel is going to suddenly try and pounce here. They're close enough, both of them, under a second.
Still Ibrahim Norodin with a roughly, well, it looks a lot smaller than a 0.7 second gap there.
Ikmal is perfectly placed to do something here on turn 14 or turn 15.
Daniel Heikel.
This literally is going to go down to the last corner. What a way to kick off racing today at Sepang International Circuit. Yes, you better have a look behind you, Norodin. Is he going to try here?
Daniel Heikel looks the closest challenger at the moment.
I did say he was holding back for a big pounce at the end. These last few corners are going to dictate who stands where on the podium.
And they're approaching a back marker.
Great racing,
there as well.
Absolute great racing. Yes, this back marker could make all the difference. How are they going to deal with him? Well, Norodin's through, Ikmal's through, Heikel's through. This is it, getting into the back straight. That's turn 14 and a big wobble from Norodin, and that is going to cost him. And that looks like Ikmal that is off. They couldn't take the pressure in the last 3 corners. Absolute mayhem. Now Norodin manages to stay on his bike, but it looks like Daniel Heikel is going to take the flag. Unbelievable stuff. Absolutely unbelievable stuff.
Now,
but Norodin takes it right at the last corner. That is experience over great form.
Last push maybe from Daniel Heikel here, going for the finish line.
Oh, it's going to be a photo finish.
This is a neck and neck. And
it was Heikel.
Daniel Heikel has done it.
Congratulations to Ahmad Daniel Heikel and Ibrahim Mohamed Norodin and Ikmal Izamli, by the way.
Now, Zhu Shengjunji has found himself in 3rd because of Ikmal's spill.
This is really, really quite remarkable, if I may say so, because Ikmal Izamli has finished 4th. But that means he's only going to get 16 points out of this. Norodin is going to get 20 points out of this and has probably kept his championship standings. But Ahmad Daniel Heikel had the best strategy on that last lap, which was hang back, see what happens. And it was both Ikmal and Norodin that had wobbles and a slip on the last, well, on turn 14. There was a second last corner. And while that was happening, Daniel Heikel put in the fastest lap of 2:43.727 and came out on top just at the end. You can see how happy he is there as well. Photo finish in the KTM RC to kick off the day at the Sepang International Circuit.
Well,
what a ride.
What a first race. We've had fisticuffs between riders.
I say.
We've had a wet track. We've had
a wet track. We've had everything. We've had that bird that's just flown past. Everything that you could ask for from a race in terms of timing, especially, with just 0.1 of a second in the end. well, 0.025 actually. 0.025 seconds was
It
the
was
difference
literally a photo finish between Daniel Heikel and Ibrahim Noureddin.
Well done to both of them.
Yeah, you've got to feel, though, for Izam Izamli. He was in the top.
It was just too much pressure going into that. I did say that
penultimate corner he went off.
I was quite prophetic like that. It did actually say halfway through that lap that it was going to be turn 14 and 15 that could make a difference. I just didn't think that both of them would have such a wobble, and one of them would actually slip off the bike as well. What a close finish that was. 0.025 seconds. And of course, while all this excitement's been going on, we can also report that Ahmed Idam Khairuddin, who was second place in the championship, has finished 9th. So really not the best of weekends for him. Couldn't finish yesterday in the last lap. Finished 9th today.
Last night's winner, Billy van Eerd, only lasted 5 laps.
Yeah, Billy van Eerd is a retirement today, so complete change of guard, except for the fact that Daniel Heikel has actually moved up from 3rd and won this one. So it's his weekend in the KTM RC for sure, and fully deserved too. But really, what a run in the end.
Well, if this is an example of the type of racing that we are going to expect here today in Sepang, then you could do worse than to get yourself down here. It's free entry to the grandstand, and we've got some superb racing lined up for you today.
Well, the other championship that's of course going to mirror this a little bit is going to be the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. That's coming up at about 12:15, but that also has young riders on equal bikes, and maybe they're not as gutsy as some of the slightly older riders that we're seeing here, but they certainly gave it a good go yesterday, and they know what's at stake. So as the riders get into the Parc Fermé, that is actually a bigger gap you see between them now than they had on track. We look at the top 10 finishers. Ahmed Daniel Heikel with a wonderful weekend comes out winning this second race after 3rd. Ibrahim Noureddin keeps his championship going with a good 2nd place. Zhu Shenjunji was very fast on the day. Izam Iqbal Izamli, well, 4th right at the last corner. Jazul Juraimi in 5th. Ralph Kenneth Torres in 6th. Arshad Rusdi Sharum and Ayman Nabil Sharum in 7th and 8th. Idam Khairuddin with his 9th there, and Ukyo Ferrucci in 10th.
In 11th, Juran Asakura. In 12th, Muhammad Rehan. In 13th, Amirul Afik. Zachary Johnson in 14th. Cheng Penyuan in 15th. Eric Chia in 16th. Shamsul Razlan Shah in 17th. Eddie Erman found himself in 18th. Markin Y in 19th. And Charmaian Lim in 20th.
And we should have one more list, and there it is. Mohammed Firdaus, Aziz, Efzan, Azlan, Pongpak Dijan, Kishore Dhanabalasingham, Sharim Azrul Rostan, Billy van Eerd, and Andrew Baraklov, essentially the DNFs for the KTM RC Race 2. If they weren't DNFs, then they were certainly a few laps back. We'll be back in just a second. More racing just around the corner.
Malaysia was, in those days, relatively unknown to the rest of the world. On the other hand, we wish to promote Malaysia, promote knowledge about Malaysia, particularly for tourism. And for that, we need to be better known. To become better known, we need to do things that are recognizable by the rest of the world, that are acknowledged by the rest of the world. So we look around for shows and events which we can stage so that people will come to Malaysia, will look at Malaysia. The international F1 race is a very well-known race all over the world.
To see SIC turn into a total entertainment venue. We will try to put in elements of entertainment for all walks of life, for all ages. As a total entertainment venue, we will have hotels, we will have garages for people to keep their prized vehicles, whether it is racing or not. We will have mechanic workshops, places where people can buy parts and modify their cars and motorbikes. We will have a lot of things which are related to automotive activity, whether two-wheel or four-wheel. To make the place for everybody to come and enjoy, whether or not there is racing during the weekends or just an opportunity to drive around the circuit. So that is what we want to try and turn Sepang International Circuit into in the near future.
Track Sepang ni bagi saya adalah saya membesar tidak jauh lagi daripada sini. Hubungan saya dengan Sepang ni boleh katakan daripada saya kecil lagi. Setiap kali saya berlumba di lintas Sepang, suhunya memang sangat tinggi. Memang panas. Ianya cabaran bagi semua pelumba. Tapi saya sukakan cabaran tu. Saya akhirkan perlumbaan saya di tempat kedua. Dan itu adalah satu podium pertama saya. Untuk mendapat podium pertama saya di kampung halaman saya sendiri cukup membanggakan.
Sepang International Circuit is more than just Formula One, MotoGP or motorsports. We have now positioned SIC as a multifaceted venue. Non-motorsport events is where we want to position SIC. We organize international musical events, concerts. We had Jamiroquai, we had Fatboy Slim, we had Rain, we had the Korean Pop Awards, we had David Guetta, and we got Guns N' Roses. And not only that, we got weddings. We have requests to do weddings, Chinese weddings, Malay weddings. We had annual dinners, we have gala dinners. This is something that people don't know about, but the corporate industry, the business, they all know that Sepang is more than just motorsport. We are a unique venue, a unique facility whereby motorsports is part of it. And you can't get it anywhere in Malaysia, and that's what's unique about SIC. If you plan to have an event, think of us.
Back to the official live stream from the Sepang International Circuit on day 2 of round 3 of the Malaysia Superbike Championship 2017. 5 rounds of the Superbike Championship will be played out this year. This being round 3, of course, there was one in March, there was one in July, there's one in April, there's one in July, and then the next ones will be in September and November. So mark those down. In fact, I'll actually give you the exact dates of it. It'll be the 15th and 17th of September and the 24th and 26th of November. My name's Jeevan Salvanathan. Sitting with me in the commentary box is Ross Yusof, but we were standing just now because we just watched our first championship, the KTM RC, and it was one of the most exciting races.
Absolutely, the KTM RC Cup. I tell you what, Daniel Heikel, he won from Ibrahim Nordin, and the winning margin was 0.025 seconds. That's how close it was. It was literally a photo finish.
Yeah, and that was the finish line, of course, but the last 3 corners going into the finish line were just as interesting as well, with 3 bikes just 1 second between them, and a big slip by 2 of them on turn 14. You can actually see turn 14 just there on the left of your screen, and that really dictated the finishing positions. If you want the final results, the fastest lap, by the way, was set by Daniel Heikel, 2:43.727. But if you want to get all those results, get on to www.sepangcircuit.com. We'll be back with the prize presentation and podium ceremony in just a second. And after that, we get into our second championship, which is the Open Production 250 class, Class A, and the rookies class as well. And that will be 8 laps. That's coming up in just a bit, so stick with us.
Hi, I'm Valentino, and I want to say ciao to all my fans, and I want to see all them here in Sepang the next October. Ciao, ciao.
I'm Maverick Viñales, happy to will be back at the Sepang test. I hope to see you 29th of October.
Hi, I'm Marc Marquez. I'm really happy to be back in Malaysia, and I will see you at the race in Sepang this 29th October 2017. Yes.
Hello, I'm Dani Pedrosa. MotoGP is back on the 29th of October. Please come to the track, and I cannot wait to see you there.
I'm Jorge Lorenzo. I'm very happy to be back in Malaysia and racing for the Ducati team. I can't wait to see all my fans in Sepang the 29th of October.
Hi, I'm Andrea Dovizioso. MotoGP is back in Sepang in October 2017. I hope to see you at the race, so book the ticket now.
Hi everybody, I'm Alex Vince, and I'm very happy to be back here 29th of October to the Malaysian race. So I hope you come to visit me. Full gas.
Hi, I am Andrea Iannone. I am very happy to be back in Malaysia, and I'm waiting you in the race.
Hi, I'm Cal Crutchlow, LCR Honda MotoGP rider. Great to be back here in Sepang, Malaysia for the winter test. We're very looking forward to seeing you on October the 29th, 2017 for the Malaysian Grand Prix.
Hi everybody, I'm Johan Zarco, so happy to be back in Malaysia. So I see you in the race at Sepang on 29 October 2017.
Hi guys, Jack Miller here. MotoGP is back in October 29th to Sepang. I hope to see you all there, and make sure you come wearing your colours.
Hai semua, Assalamualaikum Malaysia. Saya Hafiz Syarin.
Saya berharap peminat-peminat pemotoran dapat menyokong saya dan rider-rider Malaysia di Sepang 29 Oktober ini dan dapatkan tiket anda sekarang.
Names from all the big racing classes, and they're all going to be here on the 29th of October, so make sure that you are too. You saw all the details just then, but if you want more details as to how you can get involved with the big MotoGP happening later in the year, then www.sepangcircuit.com. We're about ready here at the circuit, Ross and myself, for the podium presentation for the KTM RC 390 Cup.
And in 5th position, Jazil Juraimi.
We'll be seeing him later on in the Supersport as well.
In 4th, Izamli.
Luckily in 4th, seeing as how he was off his bike on turn 14.
Early leader was the guy who finished 3rd from China, Zhu Junji.
Yeah, very good ride from Zhu.
And Ibrahim Noureddin involved in a photo finish, of course, with our winner, Daniel Heikel.
And that's Ibrahim Noureddin, the championship leader, of course, still by picking up another 20 points here. Daniel Heikel doing himself great benefit from picking up, wow, 16 points. 16 points yesterday, 25 points today, so good haul from him.
Good weekend's work for Daniel Heikel.
Well, he's definitely going to be seen as the name that owned the weekend for this round. Whether that will hold true for the next round in September, and of course the finale in November, we're gonna have to wait and see as well. But Noureddin, of course, started this championship round off with 91 points already in the bag. So he's looking pretty much set to be the man to catch still. And again, as we said yesterday, it's skill, not speed. And it's also consistency and not just winning on the day.
Absolutely. So, but these guys had an extra factor thrown into the race this morning because it was wet on parts of the track. It did rain this morning on our way to Sepang, and so they had to deal with that.
They had to deal with a lot of moisture on a lot of the corners. Things seem to be drying up a bit now, so our next championship should be a little bit drier. But yes, for these guys, it was definitely a tricky race indeed. In the commentary box, we saw the difference in timing. This was, of course, the last race to take place, the last of race ones to take place on Saturday evening.
Focus okay,
so it was the last race of yesterday, and so it was much faster in terms of timings. And for this time around, for the second race, we saw a lot more gaps turning up between each of the riders, but still just between that first and second spot between Daniel Heikel and Mohamed Noureddin, 0.025 seconds. And we've watched a lot of racing over the last 2 days, and we haven't seen a gap that small yet. So it was very, very nice to see. I said coming up a little bit later on, there's going to be another cup, the ATC, which could be just as close as well, because that also is going to have very similar bikes.
So there we see the podium finishers then for the KTM RC Cup. Our first race here on day 2 of round 3 of the Pirelli Malaysia Superbike Championship 2017. You know, tickets are free to the grandstand, so you can get yourself down and watch some of the big races. We've got the super stocks, we've got the super bikes all coming up for you, and we are here all the way till about 3 p.m. Jeevan.
Yep, what Ross is actually saying is you can, if you want to get a little bit outdoorsy, get out to Sepang International and support all of our home riders on home soil, or you can stick right by this screen and watch us all, watch all the races with Ross and myself, because we'll be here right till this afternoon, and the Superbikes. Next up will be the Open Production 250cc class, and we'll be back with that in just a second.
Not before we do the rookies in the KTM RC Cup.
Another podium.
And the winner by 161, Jazil Juraimi.
So Jazil Juraimi, another Malaysian rider, getting some credit well done to him. Good race. I said we'll be seeing him a little bit later on as well.
Director of KTM Southeast Asia to give out the trophies to winners.
Every one of these riders getting their just reward, and for, as Ross said, getting out on a very tricky track this morning. But as you can see, even from the podium, the weather has cleared up. People are walking around in shorts and no umbrellas to be seen at all. And that can only be good for the other 5 championships coming up.
Great ride from Jazil Juraimi from Singapore.
Well, I was just about to say, in terms of international flavor, a couple of Singaporean riders, Japanese rider, but also a couple of Malaysian riders up there as well, and they have been really making their mark in this wonderful championship, KTM of RC390. They're very light bikes, and as I said yesterday, there is a technical director within the KTM paddock at Sepang, Jeremy Corbin, who talked me through. I was doing a report for one of the big networks on the actual tournament itself. This was way back in March, and he was telling me about what an all-in inclusive championship it is, and how that any rider that does take part, any of these young riders that take part, one, it's a good stepping point off to Moto3 and some of the other higher classes, but by doing so, it also gives you a technical team. They will provide you, KTM, with all of your leathers, your technical staff, your bike. Obviously, you need to have your licenses and all of the other documentation to actually get onto a racetrack. If you are watching and you think you can just ride on a racetrack, you can't. You need special licenses to do that, but all the kit and the equipment, that gets provided by KTM.
But you know, if you are watching and you think, hey, I can do that.
I think there's a few things you need to know. But what KTM are trying to do, and KTM have been doing this for a long, long time from their headquarters in Austria, something like 60 years now. I think they've been in the motorsport, motorbike business, is to give this full race experience. You can just see those KTM leathers just there on your right as well. So they will put you in the leathers and they will give you the race talks, and they'll make sure your bike is working just fine. And then you can go out and get a racing experience. What you do with that experience is up to you. If you want to keep going and make it bigger, you can. Well,